Hey guys, I was thinking about this new packing series I wanted to do while I was getting ready for my trip to Disney World, and I was thinking about Disney World and how much I love that place and how much time I've spent, kind of figuring out what my best Disney vacation is for me and Dawn, and I just thought maybe I would share with you what I've learned over the years of planning for Disney World specifically, because it is different than planning for another trip, in that you have to do it, I think, a little bit farther in advance and really concentrate on your schedule way more than I would with any other trip. Because, at least for me, I like to know when the parks are open longer or open earlier, when the special fireworks shows are up, what time they are, so I can plan what dinners I want. Because the thing with Disney World is things fill up fast. Tickets sell out to special shows quickly. Dining reservations are snatched up really fast. So I really recommend planning a Disney vacation at least 6 months in advance. Personally, I usually book our room packages. I usually get a room package that includes our room as well as the park hopper. I'm just kind of figuring out if we're going to do Disney dining plan or not. We got it as like a free bonus the last time we were there and enjoyed it. I haven't sat down and done the math, but I'm considering doing it, seeing if I can add it for this trip to see if it does end up saving some money. So I can't really comment on that, but if I do end up doing that and learning more about it, maybe I'll make a separate video on it someday. But I like to book my room as soon as possible, as soon as I know the dates we're going, and then exactly at the 6-month mark, I will make dining reservations. So that requires a lot of advanced planning in and of itself. So I'm going to actually take you with me over to my computer, kind of give you a screenshot rundown of how I plan the trip, where I start looking at resources online, and such. I do always call to make my reservations. I know you can make reservations online, but I prefer calling the Walt Disney World Travel Agency. That just makes it so I can talk to somebody who's familiar with the rooms that are available, what the price comparisons are. I know you can do all of that online. It's just the way I've always done it. The online stuff is newer. Just a little background. I had never been to Disney World before. Don took me. It was our first vacation together. He took me in 2003? Yeah, I think so. In like March, it was spring break. We were still in college. He took me in the spring of 2003 for spring break for like 5 or 6 days, and it was just like unlike anything else I'd ever done. It was instant love. I was instantly in love with everything Disney World, and since then we've probably been back. We usually go about every 18 months on average, so every year and a half. There have been a couple years where we've gone twice in 1 year. There have been a couple years where we haven't gone at all. I think it averages out probably to be more like once a year if you really averaged it out. But it is the happiest place on earth, is one of their slogans. It is definitely my happy place. It's my vacation place of choice. I know Don's vacation place of choice would be like Pebble Beach or something really high-end golfy kind of thing, because he's big on golf, but he actually does enjoy taking me to Disney World and enjoys himself there because A, it's a fun vacation. We're both kind of children at heart, so that goes a long way with that sort of thing. I don't think you have to have children to go to Disney World. I have a great time, but I am a big kid, so I can't really speak for everybody. I'm sure it's not for everyone. But it's something you should experience, I think, if you can. I mean, it's a rather big investment. Going to Disney World is, I think, a lot more expensive than just taking a regular vacation somewhere else, because Disney World is expensive. It's expensive to stay there, it's expensive to eat there, and it is expensive to go to the parks, and there's so much merchandising, it's hard not to buy any souvenirs when you're there, so it is pricey, and it is something, I think it's worth saving up for. But that's a personal opinion. I do prefer staying on property. I know it's a lot less expensive if you don't, because we do like taking advantage of the free transportation that's provided by Disney. Don and I prefer to stay at the Grand Floridian just because of the location mainly, and we do like the hotel a lot as well. It's definitely one of the least kid-friendly hotels, even though I think all of the hotels at Disney World are kid-friendly, just for the record. But it's a little quieter. It's a really great location. You're right on the monorail. I'm going to talk about that in the screen part of this video anyway. But I think I like being on property. It kind of keeps the experience all Disney World. When I'm there, I feel like I'm on a different planet. I'm like on Planet Disney, and it is awesome, and all of my cares slip away as soon as we get there, and it's just so wonderful. Another thing I do recommend doing is making your dining reservations well in advance. But I'm going to come back after I show you the little screenshot and talk about those things a little more, because I know I already filmed that part and I talked on it for a long time. So we're going to jump into that. I basically just like filmed my computer screen through my Mac somehow. And then I will come back and kind of wrap things up for you. So I wanted to give you guys a look at how I prep using the internet to plan a trip to Disney World. And basically there are several sites that I have up that I'm just going to show you for planning purposes specifically. First of all is the Walt Disney World website. It's disneyworld.disney.go.com. This is what it looks like if you just type Disney World into the Google search. That's what will pop up. And I usually, in fact, if not always, book our trips through the Disney World reservation line. I call them on the phone. I'm sure that the phone number is somewhere around here. I have it actually written in my, it's actually a contact in my phone. But if you want to make a reservation, that's what I do. But you can see it even says 9 days until my vacation. That's wrong because I'm going in like 3 days, but whatever. Basically, this is a really good place to go to start to pick what resort you'd like to stay. So I would recommend going to places to stay and then having a look at all of the different resorts. Now, Don and I usually stay at one of the deluxe resort hotels. These are a bit on the pricey side. The ones that we have enjoyed in the past are Disney's Beach Club Resort, which is a beautiful resort, walking distance from Epcot, just a little like a short boat ride across from Hollywood Studios. It's right on the boardwalk. There's some great little shops and restaurants and stuff. Another place we've stayed is Disney's Contemporary Resort, which they have since updated. I haven't been since they updated the rooms. It was okay. You couldn't really beat the location. That's the main reason we wanted to try there. But I didn't like the decor at the time. It was very old-fashioned. The room was really outdated. But I know that they've updated it since then. But the last few times we've been staying at the Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, which, again, like the Contemporary, I don't think I mentioned this, but that is located on the monorail itself, which is super, super convenient. The monorail will take you right to the Magic Kingdom from the Contemporary or the Grand Floridian on sort of a loop that goes between those three places, as well as the Polynesian, which is apparently one of the best places to go if you have small children. I do not, so I can't attest to that. And that is also on the monorail. And then you can switch at the, there's like a monorail station where you can switch monorails to go directly to Epcot. So one of the main reasons we prefer the Grand Floridian is because you can hop on the monorail, get right to the Magic Kingdom. I think it's the first stop from the Grand Floridian. Or you can change at the station and get to Epcot. So you don't have to drive or take a bus or anything to either of those places. And those are probably our two favorite parks. And those are the places we have stayed. The Yacht Club is just next part of the Beach Club. They're side by side, so I think they would be very similar. The Beach Club was our preferred place of staying before we figured out about the monorail system and the Grand Floridian and all that, because it is walking distance to Epcot's World Showcase, which is really convenient for food and especially if you go like during the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, which is in November. That's really great. But so I recommend going through all of the different categories. You can check off more than one at a time, as you can see, to get sort of an idea. And there's all sorts of things you can do on the website with comparing prices and all of that. And you know, they've put a lot of time and effort into these sorts of into their here you can see we're comparing the Disney's Boardwalk Inn to the Disney's Contemporary. So they're both deluxe resorts. Tells you the address. It kind of tells you the average price, starting price, what area that they are located in. So in Disney World, most of the resorts are located within sort of an area of a specific park. And then it kind of tells you all the different things about them and stuff. So this is really, really convenient. If you have no idea, if you've never been, or you just want to try something different, that's a really good place to start. Another great thing to do is to really look at all of the theme parks, individual websites, to read a little bit about them, kind of get a sense of what they offer, what kind of rides they have, what kind of food they have, that sort of thing. Again, if you've never been. Personally, I don't do this anymore because we've been so many times, but something I do always look at is if there are any like special events coming up, and sometimes I will specifically book a trip based on that. So obviously this time we're going because of the Disney Princess Half Marathon, so that's why this trip is going right now. Other events that I've been to and really would recommend are the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which has a great themed fireworks show at the Magic Kingdom and like a parade and stuff. It's really nice. I also really enjoyed Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. That was really fun. I've been there during the Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival. It's very pretty. I probably wouldn't arrange a trip around it, but it's just a nice bonus. I would arrange a trip around the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, and I'm toying with doing this half marathon in November, depending on how this one goes, because it's at the tail end of the Food and Wine Festival, which we only got to once, but we really enjoyed it. It's excellent if you like kind of sampling cuisine and beverages from all over the world, and it's a great sort of environment. It's a wonderful time of year to go. Again, with the holidays around the world done, I did go to the Candlelight Processional last year. We were in Disney World in early December, which was lovely. It's kind of a pain to get reservations for, and I don't know if that specifically is worth it, but if you're going anyway for the holidays, Disney World does great stuff around the holidays, including the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights that they put on annually at Hollywood Studios, which is really quite something, and that is free. You just need to have admission to the park. So that's basically, I think, those are all of the events I've ever been to. So that's a great place to look. And another great place to look at is the dining. You get a sense of all the different restaurants. We usually eat at the fine signature dining restaurants for dinner. Artist Point is a favorite, Bistro de Paris, California Grill, Citricos, Victoria and Albert's, what else? Flying Fish. These are all places we've eaten. Fulton's is okay. The Brown Derby is great for lunch. That's in Hollywood Studios. Let's see, what else have we been to? Todd English's Blue Zoo. I think that's about all we've been to on this list that I can think of. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Those are all great, but the great thing about this is that, you can see the details, so you can look at, a description of the restaurant, kind of what their whole deal is about, but then you can also go ahead and look at a sample menu, which is a really, really nice option to have, so you can see how much things cost, kind of pick out if there's something you want to eat there or not. And most of the restaurants, I believe, if not all, do this. Another great thing that they've added recently is the ability to make reservations online, which is a great help. This is a really good program. You have to sometimes just be aware that you should make your dining reservations as soon as possible. I believe it's 90, if not 180 days in advance of your of the date that you're allowed to make reservations. I'll have to double check on that. I recommend doing it as soon as possible. Just make them. If you need to change them on later on, you'd rather do that than not, and then miss out on reservations, especially for really popular places like these fine signature dining restaurants, or other places such as character dining. Those fill up really, really fast. So those are basically the main things I look at. Like I said, I do call to make reservations. I know you can book your vacation online. I personally haven't done that. I'm sure it's very easy. I really, really think that Walt Disney World has done a great job with their website. I've never had a problem with it. I just prefer to call and talk to a person when I'm making a room reservation, because then they can kind of help me compare prices of rooms, and if maybe I'm not familiar with the kind of room, what they offer in that room, that sort of thing. So that's good. Another thing I would recommend doing in advance is getting Cirque du Soleil tickets. If you haven't seen Cirque du Soleil, I highly recommend it. Don and I have seen this twice. It is excellent. If you come to the Disney World website, there's a little video preview you can watch. It is worth it. I would go again and again and again. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but it is so much fun, and this is an excellent Cirque du Soleil show. It's been there for a long time, so they know what they're doing. Let's see. I think that's about all I want to talk about in terms of planning your vacation using the Walt Disney World website, except for, way in advance, like actually booking things, except for the fact that I would also recommend checking out sort of user commentary of when the best times of year to go. So one of my favorite Disney World websites is this one. It's called DIS, which actually stands for, I'm not really sure, Disney Information, I guess. It's www.wdwinfo.com, which is WaltDisneyWorldInfo.com. This is my favorite website for all things Disney, all that sort of thing. It's got great information about all Disney World planning, best times of year to go, that sort of thing. Any packages that might be available that you might not know about, current, park hours for the day, videos from people who've been, that sort of thing. I really like this website, and particularly for the park hours aspect of it, because it will show you park hours well in advance. So let's see. Right now it's showing Disney park hours until August, so that's, 6 months away? So that's a great way to start planning around, where you might want to have dinner, when you might want to, make an earlier reservation if you want to make it to a firework or a parade show or something like that. So what I do is, when I'm planning my vacation, it's about the 6 month mark, I guess, is when you can make reservations for dining. I really need to figure out. So it must be 180 days. So let's say I was going, I'm going in February, but let's say I was going in August. Then I would look in August, and this is subject to change, but in my experience, this is pretty accurate. In orange, it says so it lists all of the parks on the top here, and then it's got all of the different parades. And Wishes is the show, the fireworks show at Magic Kingdom. Illuminations is the show at Epcot. And then other shows that you can either buy tickets to or stuff like that. And then these are the water parks. So you can see it's color-coded. So orange means that's when there's extra magic hour in the morning, and it means you can enter the park 1 hour before it typically opens, which I highly recommend. Don and I always plan to get to the park right when they open, because that's how we like to spend our days. Mornings at the park, it's less crowded before lunch. You have to wait in line less. You can get all of the fast passes you need pretty quickly. There's really no issue getting onto all the rides you want in a reasonable amount of time. Whereas sometimes you just have to wait a really long time if you go in the afternoon, especially during peak times. So the orange kind of helps you figure out when things are open early. So I see that Disney's Animal Kingdom is open earlier on Wednesday, August 1st. So I would probably plan to go early that day. And then in green, it says when things are open late. So it says stay 3 hours after the park closes. So for instance, on the 3rd, the Magic Kingdom is open until 1 a.m. because it typically closes at 10, add 3 hours, closes at 1 a.m. But what I really use this for is to find out when Wishes and the Main Street Electrical Parade are at the Magic Kingdom, because that's my absolute favorite, and I go at least once, if not twice, per trip to both of those. Usually back to back. And then Illuminations generally year-round is at 9 o'clock, but I just like to double check that. And then some, this year we're going to Fantasmic, and that's not every night, at least in the winter, so it's good to see those times too. And I plan my dining reservations around this. So let's go back to February, because that kind of shows you how things can get a little trickier. So we're going next week, right? We get there on Friday, and Epcot is open late, but we are planning on going to Wishes that night, and Wishes is at 10 o'clock. So the parade is at 9 and then again at 11. Well, I don't want to be up later than 11. I want to leave after Wishes because I have to get up really early on Sunday morning for the park. For the race. So I looked here, I saw it's at 10, and I saw the parade's at 9. So I made our dinner reservation at California Grill, which is at the Contemporary, which is actually walking distance to Magic Kingdom. You can walk. It's about a 10-minute walk. It's flat. It's easy. So what we usually do is take the monorail to the Contemporary and then just walk to the Magic Kingdom and then take the monorail home after the fireworks show. So I made sure to make a reservation at California Grill, which is at the Contemporary, to give us ample time to have a nice dinner, not have to rush, and then be sure we get to Magic Kingdom by 8 o'clock to secure a great viewing place for the parade, because another good tip is to expect crowds at these fireworks and parades, because generally there are. You're really lucky if there aren't. And if you want a good spot to see the parade, if you want to be on the curb, and also to not have to move to get a good spot for the fireworks, we would just like to get there an hour early. That way we get a good spot. We just kind of sit down. One of us will save our seats while the other one goes gets, some soda or some popcorn or something if we're still hungry after dinner. And it's just easier that way because it gets crowded fast and people are a little tense with their kids. It's late at night. Their kids have been at the park all day. Everybody's tense and cranky. And I've seen fights break out at Disney World because of people taking spots. So just be wary of that. So this is really a great planning tool, and I really don't use it as much as somebody who could explore it for the first time might. Because we've been so many times, I just know what to expect when I go, but I really recommend sort of alternating between the Walt Disney World website, disneyworld.disney.go.com, and the Walt Disney World Info, wdwinfo.com website, to do your main research. And I do recommend booking your trip well in advance. I usually book our trips 6 to 12 months in advance with the rooms, and I usually get a package deal where I get our park hopper tickets all at once. That's another thing I would recommend doing. If you're going to Disney World, it's more likely than not you're going to be going to more than one park in one day, especially if you're going to a fireworks or a parade show or something. You might not want to spend the whole day at the Magic Kingdom. Maybe you want to go to Epcot or Animal Kingdom in the morning, and you just want to go to Magic Kingdom to see Wishes at night. So I would recommend doing the park hopper pass. It's really not more expensive. I think you end up saving a bunch of money that way. I can't think of what the numbers are at the moment, but I know I did the math like the first year we went, and it's so expensive to buy your tickets when you're there. Buy them in advance, buy them as a package deal with your room. You get a break. It's a lot less expensive than going per day. It might be like $100 per day, and now here, look, it's only $35 if you buy 8 days or whatever. So I really recommend that as well. Well, I'm sorry if that went on a little bit. I didn't really plan this video before sitting down to film it. I just kind of had an idea of what I wanted to say. I went over a lot in there about the two websites that I usually use as my really like preliminary planning tools. Like I said, we've been there so many times, and we've kind of narrowed down where we like to stay, where we like to eat. We've kind of done it all in terms of the restaurants, how our day goes. So maybe I'll talk about that a little bit. We generally wake up early. Is not a vacation that we sleep in on. Any other vacation, we are not getting out of bed early in the morning. Well, I am, because I can't sleep past sunup for some reason. But it's more of an active vacation. So the mornings we dedicate to the parks, because I like to get there before the crowds do. I like to be able to, get on the rides we want without having to wait a long time. And I do really recommend using the Fast Pass option to your best advantage. So Fast Pass is something that Disney came up with a long time ago, where you can basically take your ticket, or in my case it would be of my room key. It's called your key to the world. It acts as your ticket to get into all the parks. It's our park hopper pass. Also, it just charges back to the rooms if you buy food or merchandise. And also, if you're on the Disney dining plan, that is what you would use to eat and stuff on the plan. But you put that into a machine. Most of the more popular rides have them, the Fast Pass machine. It'll say like what the wait time is for the ride, and you can see the line, and then you can see what the Fast Pass return time is. So you can only have one Fast Pass at a time. So basically, we'll plan to go, as soon as we get in the park, as soon as it opens, we will go right to the ride that we want to get a Fast Pass for, get our Fast Pass, and then we'll go right to our other favorite ride and get in line for that. And usually we can go on that ride and then maybe one other before our Fast Pass returns. So that is something I recommend, is kind of like figuring out what rides are your favorite, figuring out how to spend the least amount of time waiting in line. I could do another video about how to like navigate Disney World, because I feel like that's going to be time consuming. I don't even remember what I was going to say. But yes, we spend our mornings at the park, and then usually about 4 hours is about my limit for amusement park in a day. I love Disney and I love amusement parks, but I really can't. I get too tired. I'm like a 3-year-old, like cranky. So usually we'll either have lunch there or go back to the hotel for lunch, or go somewhere else for lunch, like downtown Disney or something. And then the afternoon will be more leisurely, sort of when we get our vacation like rest time in. So we'll either, if it's nice, we'll go to the pool, or we might go play mini golf, or we might go do some shopping at downtown Disney, that sort of thing. And then we come back to get ready for dinner, and we go to dinner, and then some nights we'll be going to either Illuminations, which is the fire and lights show at Epcot, or Wishes, which is the fireworks show at Magic Kingdom, or any other special events that might be going on. So that is basically a typical day. And what I do, as soon as I've made my reservation, picked when we're going, and like I said, it usually kind of goes with an event. So this time it's the Disney Princess Half Marathon, but other times we've gone for the holidays. Like the last time we were there, we went to do all the holiday things, the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, and the Osborne Spectacle of Dancing Lights, and the Candlelight Processional at Epcot. So I know when I'm going, I know what special events I'm going to, and I work that into my schedule. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go to the wdwinfo.com, which is the Disney information website. I showed you the second one. And they usually have 6 months out all of the schedules for the parks, park hours, and then special hours, and show times, and firework times, and all that. And it is subject to change, but more often than not, it's right on the money. And I will write down the days we're going. So this is what I did 6 months ago. I wrote down all the days we were going, and then I wrote in green what the extra magic hours were, when the parks were open late, and the red are when the parks are open early. And if there's a parade at Wishes, what time the parade is, what time Wishes is. I figured out Illuminations was every night at 9, so I just wrote that in the top. And this is the first year we're actually going to Fantasmic, which is a special evening show at Hollywood Studios that you have to wait in a really long line for, and you're not guaranteed in unless you buy a dining package where you either go to lunch or dinner at one of a few select restaurants at Hollywood Studios that day, and they will give you a ticket, and that kind of guarantees you get in. You still have to go early, but not as early. So I kind of wrote down when all the Fantasmic showings were so I could plan my dining reservations around it, because the dining, I have found, has been the thing that goes the fastest, especially for the better times, like the earlier times. Usually you can get into dinner after 9, but I don't want to eat that late, and also I don't want to miss any of the shows and stuff. So after I write that schedule out, I kind of write down all the places we want to go, and then I start arranging them to be around when I want to go see different shows. So location-wise, like I said, the first night we're going to California Grill for dinner, which is at the located at the Contemporary Hotel, which is a walking distance from the Magic Kingdom. It's a 10-minute walk. It is super easy. So we've done this in the past. So we're going to the California Grill very early for dinner because the parade starts at 9, and I want to be at the park by 8, like I said, to make sure we get a seat. So if we have dinner at 6, considering dinner is usually an hour and a half at a leisurely pace to 2 hours, that's perfect. So I made sure to make that reservation as soon as possible. And usually reservations are available to make dining reservations 180 days in advance. I'm almost positive. If that's not true, I'll write down here. If nothing shows up here, that's what it is. I'm almost positive it's 6 months in advance. And I go through every day and I kind of think of that. Now for this trip, I have this race on Sunday when the race is like we have to be at the race place at 4 a.m. So I know I have to go to bed super early on Saturday. We'll see if I sleep. I'm sure I'll be excited and nervous, but I wanted to make an early dinner reservation. I knew I didn't want to go see any shows that night. I wanted to be a very quiet, early night, so we're going to dinner in a very quiet restaurant. Artist Point is wonderful food. It's up in the Wilderness Lodge. Is that what it's called? I think so. And it's a really nice place to go. It's very quiet. It's a nice dinner. I know I'll get a good meal to prep for my race. And we're going at 5:30, which is early because I want to be back and be kind of winding down and going to bed earlier. And then Sunday, I made sure to make the only character dining I've really like to do. I think that's more of a thing you do with kids. I just don't like the food as much as at those places. I love seeing the characters and stuff, but to me, the food isn't isn't as good. But the one place I do like is Chef Mickey's for breakfast. And for the past few years, I haven't been able to get a reservation into that place early enough to be able to get to the parks when they open, which is what I prefer. But since I'm racing on that Sunday, we're probably not going to an amusement park that day. So I made a late morning reservation, and I'm so happy to finally be able to go back, and so on and so forth. So again, an example of planning around your dining and, nighttime activity wishes. Or, preferences. I guess I shouldn't say wishes because that's the name of the fireworks show. That might be confusing. For instance, I decided on Tuesday that we would go to the Illuminations at Epcot, which is a show that's generally at 9 o'clock, and I think that's year-round. It's a fire and light show set to music and then narration and stuff. So we usually eat at Epcot when we go see that show. So we're going to Le Cellier for dinner at 6:20, which gives us plenty of time. And there's stuff to do at Epcot in World Showcase, even though that's more time than we need. And you really don't need to get your spot to see as early as you do for Wishes of the Magic Kingdom, because it's like there's just way more viewing areas, and it just doesn't get as crowded. So it doesn't matter that our dinner's that early. That was really the only time I could get in. I booked these right away, but they book up fast. And then on Wednesday, we're going to Fantasmic, which is that show at Hollywood Studios I told you about, which is at 7. So I got the dining package, so we're having lunch at Hollywood Studios that day to get our tickets for Fantasmic. And then we are going to a restaurant that's only a very short walking distance from Hollywood Studios at 5 o'clock for a quick dinner so we can get to Fantasmic in plenty of time. And that is basically how I plan. Those are the things that I get most concerned about planning, and that is what I will do 6 months in advance. Make sure we have our room package with our tickets and get our dining planned, and that is my system. Now, closer to the trip is when I will really kind of think more about a possible schedule for every day, this is the one trip where I actually do schedule things. Any other vacation we take, we generally don't do any scheduled activities. It's really just for relaxation. This one, of course, we can change the plan, but I like having a starting off point going in. So just last week, so just like 2 weeks in advance, I have all my reservations already all set, and they've been set for a long time, but I went ahead and wrote out a new sheet, just like in the same way as the other one, copying again which days were extra magic hours, seeing if there were any updates, and then writing in, oh, that's our flight information, just realized that, writing in, well, that doesn't matter, does it? Are you guys going to come board my plane? I don't think so. Writing in the different events in purple that I know, like our flight going out, and the expo I have to go to pick up my race packet on Saturday, and the half marathon, and the Hollywood Studios lunch. Those are all set in stone, so I wrote those in purple. But then in pencil, I kind of penciled in what we might be doing on any given day by looking at when the parks open early. So on Monday, the Animal Kingdom opens at 8, and that has a couple of our favorite rides in it. The Safari, as well as Mount Everest, is a great roller coaster, and those have such long lines so fast. So what we'll do is we'll usually go on the day that it opens early, and then we'll go straight to Safari, get our fast passes, and it's actually like a little zoo tour, basically. It's really nice. And then we'll run over across the park to get in line for Mount Everest. And then by the time Mount Everest is over, it's usually time to go back for the Safari, so that worked out well. And then, you know, Wednesday we'll be at Hollywood Studios, so we have lunch to get the tickets for Fantasmic. And then Thursday and Friday, I was thinking we would go to Universal, which we've never done before, so that'll be new for me. And then Saturday, Epcot. It's just, I just kind of like to think through these things a little. Of course, this can change, but it gives me something to work off of, so I'm not planning while I'm there. I've already planned, and my brain can go on vacation, and I can just enjoy my trip. And that is really the gist of what happens. For my trip, I keep everything in, whatever trips we're going on, I keep folders. I have a standing file folder, like, I don't know what to call it. I'm looking at it, but I don't know what to call it. Organizer? Yeah, on my desk. And so I have a folder for the Half Princess Marathon. There's a lot of paperwork for that, and Disney World as well. So I can pull that out at any moment, and that also has files for other trips and other things that we might be doing. So those are my biggest planning tips. Plan ahead. Look at those websites. Figure out when you want to go, if there's something special you want to do, or what time of year you think would be best for you weather-wise. And then book your dining reservations and any special tickets well in advance, as soon as possible. That would be my main piece of advice. Anyway, I hope this was helpful and not too scattered. I'm sorry, I just got so excited to film it. And if you guys want more detailed videos about this Disney planning stuff, I could definitely do something like that when I get back and it's all fresh in my memory. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back with a little packing series showing you how I pack for Disney basically, and as well as a new carry-on video and some other goodies. So I'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.